It's 3 a.m. and your baby is wide awake. Not just awake, alert, kicking, staring, almost energized. And you're there, exhausted, wondering how something so small can have so much energy at the exact moment you have none. Most people will
Have
tell
you
you it's
tried the
just a
lavender
phase,
routine yet?
that they're overtired, or
The
maybe
moon
not
phase
tired
affects their
enough,
sleep, you
or just
know.
being difficult. But what if none of that is actually true? What if your baby isn't fighting sleep, but following something much deeper? Because what's happening inside your baby's brain in these moments isn't random, and it's definitely not a mistake. In fact, it might be one of the most important processes shaping how their brain develops, regulates emotion, and learns about the world. Most people believe something that sounds completely logical. If a baby is tired, they should sleep. That's how it works for adults, right? You feel tired, your body slows down, and eventually you drift off. But here's the part no one tells you. For babies, tiredness doesn't always lead to sleep. In many cases, it does the exact opposite. It activates the brain instead of shutting it down. And this is where things start to get interesting. Because when a baby becomes overtired, their body doesn't relax. It releases stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline, the same chemicals your body produces when you're under pressure or alert. So instead of becoming calm and sleepy, their system shifts into a kind of wired state. Eyes open wider, movements increase, and suddenly sleep becomes harder, not easier. If you've ever noticed your baby getting more active the later it gets, almost like a second wind kicks in, you've seen this happen in real time. It's not resistance, it's biology doing exactly what it was designed to do. Here's something that completely changes how you see this. Your baby's brain is not designed to switch off the way yours does. In fact, it's doing the opposite. It's working at full capacity, even at the exact moment you think it should be resting. When a baby is born, their brain is still under construction, not metaphorically, literally being built in real time. New neural connections are forming every second, faster than at any other stage of life. And here's the surprising part. That process doesn't slow down when they're tired. It often becomes even more active, especially at night when there are fewer distractions and more internal processing. Think about everything your baby experiences in a single day. New sounds, new faces, new sensations, new emotions. Now imagine all of that being processed by a brain that has never seen any of it before. So when night comes and everything gets quiet, their brain doesn't just go to sleep. It starts organizing, sorting, connecting, trying to make sense of everything it just absorbed. And sometimes that process is so intense that it actually keeps them awake, not because they don't need sleep, but because their brain is too busy learning how to exist. Here's the part that almost no one talks about. Your baby's brain isn't just trying to sleep, it's trying to stay safe. And from a biological perspective, those are not the same thing. For thousands of years, human babies didn't sleep in quiet rooms. They slept in unpredictable environments, full of noise, movement, and risk. So their brains evolved with one priority above everything else: stay alert enough to detect danger. That means deep, uninterrupted sleep was never the default. Light sleep, frequent waking, and constant checking for safety, that's what kept babies alive long before baby monitors and nightlights existed. And here's where it connects to you. When your baby resists sleep, especially when you put them down, their brain is asking a very simple question: am I safe enough to let go right now? If the answer isn't a clear yes, their system keeps them awake, not to make your night harder, but to keep themselves protected. This is why many babies fall asleep faster when they're close to you. Your voice, your smell, your presence, these are signals that lower their internal alert system. So what looks like fighting sleep is often your baby doing exactly what their brain was designed to do, making sure the environment is safe before shutting down. Here's something that completely changes how you see this. We assume babies should follow our schedule. Night means sleep, Day means awake, simple. But your baby's brain doesn't work like that yet. Their internal clock that tells us when to sleep is still immature, especially in the first months of life. It's not fully synchronized with light and darkness the way yours is, which means something very important. Your baby isn't refusing to sleep at 3 a.m. In many cases, their brain doesn't even fully understand that it's supposed to be nighttime. And this creates a mismatch. You're operating on a 24-hour structured cycle, while your baby is running on fragmented biological patterns based on hunger, stimulation, and neurological needs. This is why some babies seem more alert at night, not because something is wrong, but because their internal system hasn't fully aligned yet. They're still learning how time works. A simple example you might recognize: a baby who naps too long or too late in the day suddenly becomes wide awake at night. Not stubborn, not difficult, just following internal signals. So instead of thinking, why won't they sleep? A better question becomes, what is their brain responding to right now? Because once you start seeing sleep as a biological process, not a behavioral problem, everything begins to make a lot more sense. There's something subtle happening in these moments, something most parents don't even realize. Your baby isn't just reacting to the environment, they're reacting to you. Not just what you do, but how you feel while you're doing it. Your tone, your tension, your breathing, your micro-expressions, all of it becomes information for your baby's brain. Because early in life, babies don't regulate their emotions alone. They borrow regulation from the adult in front of them. This is what psychologists call co-regulation, and it's one of the foundations of emotional development. So when you're holding a baby at 3 a.m., exhausted, frustrated, maybe checking the clock every second, your body is sending subtle signals of stress, and your baby picks up on that instantly. Not consciously, not on purpose, but neurologically, their system mirrors yours. If your state is tense, their system becomes more alert. If your state is calm, their system begins to settle. This is why sometimes everything is technically right. They've been fed, changed, held, but something still feels off. Because the missing piece isn't physical, it's emotional. A simple shift can make a difference. Slowing your breathing, softening your voice, holding them without urgency, even if you feel it inside. Almost like you're telling their nervous system it's okay to rest. And here's the paradox: the calmer you try to be for them, the more your own body starts to follow, because regulation works both ways. So sometimes helping your baby sleep starts with regulating something you didn't expect, yourself. By now, you might be thinking, okay, I understand what's happening, but what do I actually do at 3 a.m.? And this is where most advice online goes wrong. It gives you rigid routines, perfect schedules, exact timings, but your baby isn't a system to control. It's a brain that's still learning how to regulate itself. So instead of trying to force sleep, the goal becomes something slightly different: creating the conditions that allow sleep to happen naturally. For example, stimulation matters more than most people realize. Bright lights, sudden sounds, too much interaction at night, all of these signal the brain to stay alert. A simple shift can already help. Lower the lights, slow your movements, reduce your voice, almost like you're telling the environment nothing important is happening right now. Another point most parents overlook is transitions. Going from full activity to sleep too quickly can be overwhelming for a developing brain. They need a gradual landing, not a sudden stop. Something as simple as a short, consistent sequence can help the brain predict what comes next. A calm hold, a soft rhythm, a repeated gesture. Not perfect, just consistent enough to feel familiar. And here's something counterintuitive. Trying too hard to make them sleep often keeps them awake longer, because your urgency becomes stimulation. So instead of thinking, I need them to sleep now, a more effective mindset is, I'm helping their system slow down. It's a small shift, but neurologically, it changes everything. Up to this point, everything we talked about is normal. Overstimulation, Brain development, emotional regulation, biological rhythms, all of these can explain why a baby resists sleep. But there's one detail that deserves your attention. Not anxiety, just awareness. Because while most sleep resistance is part of healthy development, there are moments when the pattern feels different. Not just occasional nights, but something more consistent, more intense. For example, a baby who seems constantly overstimulated, who struggles to settle even in calm environments, or who rarely makes eye contact during wake moments. These are subtle signals, not conclusions. It doesn't mean something is wrong. Every baby develops at their own pace, and variation is completely normal in early life. But early patterns are information, and information matters. The first years of life are a period of extreme neuroplasticity. The brain is more adaptable here than at any other time, which means something very important. Small observations early can lead to big differences later. This is why pediatric specialists often say, trust what you notice, not what you fear. You're not looking for problems, you're learning how to read your baby more clearly. And most of the time, what you'll find is reassurance that what looks confusing on the surface is actually your baby's brain doing its job perfectly. But staying attentive, without panic, without overthinking, is one of the most powerful things you can do as a parent. Because understanding replaces anxiety, and awareness gives you the ability to respond instead of react. So the next time it's 3 a.m. and your baby is wide awake, before assuming something is wrong, pause for a second and look at the situation differently. Because what feels like resistance might actually be development in motion. Your baby isn't trying to make your night harder. They're not being difficult, and they're definitely not broken. They're learning how to regulate, how to feel safe, and how to slowly understand the rhythm of the world around them. And maybe the real question isn't, how do I make my baby sleep right now? But instead, what is my baby's brain trying to do in this moment? Because when you shift that perspective, you stop fighting the process and start working with it. And that's where things begin to change, not overnight, but in a way that actually supports long-term development. Now, I'm curious, have you ever had a moment where your baby seemed more awake exactly when they should be sleeping? What did it feel like in that moment? Confusion, frustration, or something else? If this changed how you see your baby sleep, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because here we break down baby behavior in ways most people never stop to think about. And if you found this surprising, wait until you see why some babies suddenly start laughing at nothing, especially in the middle of the night. That video might change how you see their world completely.